Hello, this section is all about talking of Python applications. Some of the cool things that you can do or build a website using Python, develop a game in Python, perform computer vision, implement machine learning, enable robotics with Python, perform web scraping, perform data analysis using Python, automate a web browser, perform scripting in Python and perform scripting in scientific computing using Python, build artificial intelligence. Python is not limited to these applications. If you have ever used services from brands like YouTube, Dropbox and Netflix, then you have been a consumer of Python. The search engine Google also made great use of this language in its initial stages. Then we move on to the Python architecture and working. Let's now talk about Python architecture and its usual flow. First one is the parser. It uses the source code to generate an abstract syntax tree. Then comes the compiler. It turns the abstract syntax tree into Python bytecode. Interpreter. It executes the code line by line in a read, evaluate, print loop fashion. Then understand about Python constructs. First one is the functions in Python. A function in Python is a collection of statements grouped under a name. You can use it whenever you want to execute all those statements at a time. You can call it wherever you want as many times as you want in a program. A function may return a value. Then comes the classes in Python. As we discussed earlier, Python is an object-oriented language. It supports classes and objects. A class is an abstract data type. In other words, it is a blueprint for an object of a certain kind. It holds no values. An object is a real-world entity and an instance of a class. Modules in Python. Python module is a collection of related classes and functions. We have modules for mathematical calculations, string manipulations, web programming and many more. Packages in Python. Python package is a collection of related modules. So you can either import a package or create your own package. List in Python. You can think of a list as a collection of values. Declared in the CSV, that is comma separated values, format and delimit using square brackets. So a list may also contain elements of different types and the indexing begins at 0. Let's take a simple example of person with the name of first name and the value of 21. Here in the 0th index it is the first name and in the first index it will be 21. So we can print the person of index 1, that is output will be 21. So you can also slice list. Slicing is a way of retrieving some values from it. Next thing is the tuple in Python. A tuple is like a list but it is immutable. So you cannot change its values. Let's take an example of pizza with the parameters of base, sauce, cheese, mushroom. We can assign pizza of index 3 equal to corn. This raises a type error. Then comes the dictionary in Python. A dictionary is a collection of key value pairs. Declare it using curly braces and commas to separate key value pairs. Also separate values from keys using a colon. Let's take an example of student with the name of ABC and age is 21. We can print the student age is 21. Comments and doc strings in Python. Declare comments using an hash symbol. However, Python does not support multi-line comments. Doc strings are documentation strings that help explain the code. Here is an example of comment and doc strings. Next comes to the comparison chart of Python with other programming languages such as Java and C++. In the concept of memory management, the C++ is manually allocated and deallocated. In Java, the allocation is manually done and automatic garbage collection will be done. In Python, both allocation and deallocation are automatic. Code length in C++, longer lines of code as compared to Python. In Java, it about 40% more code in comparison to C++. But in Python, it is 3 to 5 times shorter than Java programs. In C++, the typing system is statistically typed both code and compiler. In Java also same with the C++ is statistically typed both code and compiler. But in Python, it is dynamically typed, language is type free, and interpreter is strongly typed. In the compiling, C++ is compiled to machine code, Java compiles to byte code, then it interpreted by the JVM, that is Java Virtual Machine. But in Python, it will be interpreted by the Python interpreter. The execution speed of C++ is 100%. In Java, it is 1176% and Python is 1800%. The portability of C++ is platform dependent and it must be recompiled for different platforms. Java is platform independent. The bytecode generated works on every operating system. Python is also platform independent. Code is interpreted while execution. C++ supports built-in thread concept. In Java, it has built-in thread support. In Python, there is no multi-threading concept. The syntax complexity of C++ is defining blocks using flower bracket ending with statements using semicolon. In Java, also defining blocks using flower bracket ending with statements using semicolon. In Python, it uses indentation only. So this was all about Python programming, where you learned what is Python, why Python is so powerful, what are the applications of Python, and basic architecture of constructs of Python.